Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your intrepid host, Mr. David Null, and got fuzz on my face. Actually, I didn't shave there. Uh, um, Happy belated Halloween. It's 2:04 a.m. in the morning time here on Eastern Coast, Eastern Daylight Time. Time's going to change back here in a few days. I still haven't changed my clock since spring, or actually, I haven't changed my clock. Period. I didn't flip forward, so it's just going to be interesting how it feels around here when everybody comes back to my time zone. It's just a little thing here. Okay, so my subject. Well, earlier today, I was supposed to go visit some friends of mine, and it didn't quite work out that way, which is okay. I got my tires pumped up, and some work done on my truck a little bit, so I could go somewhere, But anyway, um, so I've been outside on and off early after, well, late afternoon and early evening is what I meant. And man, the skies were really nice until about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and all of a sudden they started the chemtrail started coming in. Man, I mean, crisscrossed and different layers, and I mean, in just no time flat, the sky was just filled with you know that high level cloud that keeps us from actually seeing the sky, if you will. So, I've been listening to a YouTube and go outside, and it's still cloudy. Come back in. I just made some absolutely wonderful spaghetti, homemade spaghetti, using some ground up venison that a friend of mine gave me, unbelievably, about 2 years ago. And it wasn't freezer burned at all, and it cooked right up. Yum yum. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Ed, for ground venison. It made some absolutely wonderful spaghetti. I mean, actually, it wasn't spaghetti. I had some their noodles made out of wheat, and so I had wheat noodles with my homemade spaghetti with mushrooms and garlic and yum yum. Anyway, but to the subject. So I go back outside after I finish, cook up my little meal there, giving the clouds a chance to clear. And I walk outside, and I usually view some stuff from this window right there in the south side of my house. And so I'm looking out there, and I'm like, well, normally I see Mars, somewhere right in through there, I see Mars. Well, no Mars tonight. And I'm like, it's too damn cloudy, can't see it. Okay, next. So, okay, after my lovely spaghetti dinner, and I'm listening to the end of this video, I walk outside 15 minutes ago, and it's a lot clearer. So it's been, let's see, this is when it's early Thursday morning, but I'm going to say it's Wednesday night. Okay, I'm just going to stick with Wednesday night. But it was, I think, Sunday night. I went outside, and I'm looking at the sky, and this is the time of year when the Pleiades is up, when Orion is up, and a lot of really cool stars, and the Milky Way, you can see it, Big Bear's up overhead, and it's just a really cool time. You can see in the Andromeda galaxy, and Triangulum, and many others, as well as Pisces in its Picus. It looks like Pisces, but it's not. It's Picus. Anyway, there's quite a few big stars in there. So anyway, so I'm going out there and I'm looking and I'm checking my star chart. And 4 nights ago, I was looking at the sky, and I'm kind of facing south here with the way my house is oriented. I have to walk way out in the field to look back north. And I got a couple of neighbors with, them dead gum, safety lights out back, and he's got 2 of them. Why he needs 2, I don't know. But anyway, and there's a lot of false light, and I can't really see the sky, the north sky, like I'd like to. I have to go to a different location to see that. But anyway, so I'm looking up, and Orion is where it's supposed to be. It's like almost overhead. I mean, I literally had to lean back because of, I've had neck surgery. So I have to lean back to see the seven sisters, Pleiades. And 3, 4 nights ago, they were just above the horizon, the horizon of pine trees when I looked south. And I was standing out there going, man, I ought to make a video about this. Orion's way too low in the sky. And I was just like, oh man, it's kind of been down there the last week or so when I could check it because of clouds or whatever. So when I go out tonight, early this morning, it's now 10 past 2 Eastern Daylight Time. I walk out there looking towards the same area where Orion was just a few nights ago, and Orion's like almost overhead. I mean, like overhead, not just a little bit. So I got my little, my little plastic tool that I use for lining up the stars to find out where the degrees of change are. And I've showed this before. It's just a Dollar Tree, dollar store kind of thing. And I've marked here in red, uh, that's 15 degrees between each one of those. It's just easier for me to read. And I use my little piece of string. So I hold this up and I'm looking out there and okay, so Orion was right about there. And now Orion's up here. So that was a difference of 20 to 25 degrees in 4 days. Okay. In 4 days, we have rolled 20 to 25 degrees to the south. In other words, for me to see the Pleiades overhead, which is where it should be. Okay. This time of year, that's where I normally look. It should be overhead and I could see it goes into the trees. And I've had this discussion over the years, but so I'm making it again. The observation is currently Pleiades is where it's supposed to be normally when I viewed it in the past. It's been out of whack for the last week or so, way too, look, for me, it's really early in the morning, it's been rising in the southeast. It's not supposed to be in the south. It is supposed to be east because of the rise, because it, rising from the east and making the turn, making the anyway. So, but my observation as of tonight, with my little protractor thingy there, and my piece of string, it's like a sextant. I did a video a couple of nights ago or something, and I was trying to explain what it was, and it's a sextant. And, sailors in the old days, they still use the things because sometimes GPS is off. Now, here's something that I want to bring up because of my observations. If I'm out in a boat, which I have been before, at night, looking up at the stars, and say the earth is wobbling. Now, if I expect to be at a certain place on the, I check the horizon, I check the stars, I check this, you check a certain areas, and then you look on the map to tell where you're at. Now, if the earth is wobbling 15 to 20 degrees and go out and look, you look and tell me where Orion is and where Pleiades is in relationship to where it might be in a few more days. But to the point, though, we're in a big wobble. All right. Now, when I've gone outside here and I've fed the cats and checking on the stars, because something told me, I really need to, to see where we're at kind of thing. I haven't been able to make a decent observation in a couple of nights because of the damn chemtrails, okie dokie. So as I'm going outside, and there's no lights over towards the south. Now I have one or two of them. One of them is really dim, but a couple of, solar yard lights, but they're low to the ground. Now, as I walked out there earlier, while I'm making my spaghetti, actually wheat noodles, okay, and put some cat food out, there was a light that came on out towards the edge of my property, which is about 250 to 300 feet in a straight line over there to the fence row. And about 3 foot, maybe 3.5 feet. If I was standing out there and there's a pile of wood and some other things out there, so I can kind of gauge how high it was. And so it's about at least my waist or a little higher, not quite 4 feet off the ground, is this bright light, looks like, and there was one in the house that was on live video one night that I was doing maybe 2 weeks ago. And it was right back there, and it looked like it was about this tall, and it had two wings on it, and it was floating in the background right behind me. So in other videos that I've done, that there have been orbs that appeared and have floated across the screen, and I've done videos on those. And during live videos like I'm doing right now, an orb appears and just, and there's, it's arm's length from where I'm sitting to the camera. So if something's floating in between me and the camera, I ought to be able to see it. Well, I have seen, well, if you've watched any of my other videos or listened to me, I've had a lot of spiritual and ghostly type events happen in my lifetime. So I was going to do a Halloween special, but everybody else was doing one, and to tell some true ghost stories and incidents and so forth that I've seen myself. I might still do it, but it just seemed like, it was inappropriate tonight. I'd be, competing with everybody else telling stories, and but so I decided that I would use the time this evening to kind of, check in on other folks. And I happened to listen in to a shaman who has studied with the Lakota and other folk. Now he's much more Native American than I am. I do have Native American ancestry, and I make no claim that I can go on a res. Okay. But my great grandmother, great great grandmother, and great 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 grandmother and grandmother were all of Cherokee descent from up there in Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, the northern area of the Cherokee, in the Appalachians. So, and there are family records and so forth about that. So, but to the point though, this gentleman actually has, credentials, if you will. All right. But I have studied shamanism with some very good teachers over the many years, and as well as he. And I was surprised that of the 2 hours worth of listening to the interview while cooking my spaghetti dinner, okay, noodles, twisted noodles, that what he spoke of about events, past events, spiritual things. Now he's on the West Coast and around Mount Shasta and so forth. So, and I've been out there. All right. And now I wasn't able to stop on Mount Shasta, but very near it. And we did a rest stop thing, and we spent several days in California and up in the redwoods and along the coast. And so I haven't spent a lot of time there, but I understand its spiritualness. I mean, and it's different from the East Coast. It's different from the Smoky Mountains. It's different from the Ozarks. But there is still a similarity in the spiritualness of the places themselves. Okay, just saying. But the West Coast, there's just something about the West Coast that I get why people live in California and some of that stuff. But I also get why they're wackier than like East Coasters or whatever, But and I can't tell you what it is, but there is a difference. Anyway, so while listening to this gentleman, he was speaking about seeing signs of the Sasquatch or Bigfoot in his area. And that, he'd seen little gnome type beings, a little short, dark elf or dwarf. There's so many different ways. Little people, but now I've seen them in my backyard. I've met several Native American shaman women who told. I walked up there, never met her in my life, and she goes, you know, some of the little folk are a little mad at you. And I was like, I'm sorry. I mean, what's your name and who are you? And she goes, I can just tell you're having trouble with the little people, aren't you? And as a matter of fact, I had spoken to another friend of mine, and he said he had suggested to me to have a place in my woods, which I've got like 13 acres down towards the river. I mean, right, it starts right like 50 feet from where I'm sitting to, a quarter mile back to the river. And so, but he said, you should designate a spot and tell the little people in your woods, hey, this is your area, this is your place. You go do your thing, and I won't mess with you in here. And so that's what I did. I went down to the woods and I talked with the spirits down there, and I've sent messages out. I went and did a campfire and meditated overnight down there, and said, look, I want to make sure that you all have a place and that I don't go into your area. And so the little people, they helped me pick a designation in my woods back there. And I would say, okay, hey y'all, I had a little trail through there. It's on a small ridge in the back where there'd be water on both sides, and sometimes I'd have to go through, but I always had one path, and I always stayed on the path of to stay out of the area of the little people, so I didn't mess with their stuff, if you will. Okay, I didn't create any bike trails. It was off limits, even to me. Okay, except for rare circumstances. I mean, like maybe 4 times a year, maybe I would go through their area, and I respected it, and I never had any trouble with the little people after that. And now I didn't go back to the lady that I met at this powwow, but it was very interesting in that she knew exactly what was going on at my house, and we had never met. So with that said, tonight there has been some stuff going on in my yard that I went back out with my little headlamp on. I went out and I've got the little porch light that's very low dimmed. It just gives enough light at my back porch, but I can see a little bit into the yard when it's dark enough. And I've got some Christmas tree lights with about every third light out. So there's just a couple of bulbs hanging across where I'm trying to build uh, finish my porch. I'm going to make a sunroom, anything. Anyway, I did that on another video, and I'm going to update that one too, because now the hurricane's over, and I'm finally getting the debris out of my yard, so I go back to work on the. It's a greenhouse porch. It's going to be an interesting. It's going to be interesting. But anyway, but out in the yard between maybe 50, 60 feet from the fence, but 100 or more feet from my house, there is this being that is about this tall. 2 foot is like would be pushing it, at least 16 inches, and it's got some kind of wings, and it's flickering on and off like a lightning bug, but not. I mean, the whole thing lit up. It was well, I say it was translucent. It was a really bright white. And I was like, what the hell? And then it popped up over there. So it was like a lightning bug in that it appeared really bright. And then it was over here really bright. And it was like watching frames, in an old movie. And then it was like I saw a faint light towards the fence away from me. And I stood out there for 10 minutes with dang short sleeve shirt on. It's 59 degrees out there, and the freaking mosquitoes are crazy. Uh, don't even know where the mosquitoes come from. But anyway, but I'm looking out there across my yard, and I'm like, and I tried to duplicate, they're further out there. I used to be in the carny business, and I've got an old trailer. It's not old, but I mean, Anyway, there's a trailer out there. It's my old joint trailer. That's what I call it. My old joint trailer. Popcorn, cotton candy, that kind of thing. That's what I used to sell. Still have the machines, by the way. But hey, if you want cotton candy, I can make you some. A really nice machine. Um, and it was out that way. And so I know that, there could have been a reflection off the trailer. But the thing is that it wasn't near the trailer, really. And the fact is that the trailer is painted white. And so, and why would I only see this being in this little small area and then it appear over here? Anyway, so I spent 15 minutes out there. I've just stood out there and watched, and I've noticed there's a lot of odd flashing going on, even in like the lower sky. There's like just a flash of light and then nothing. And I'm looking at the sky, checking out, Pleiades, and then a flashlight over here. There's a good patch of dark sky to the south of me right now. But I'm here to tell you, 4 nights ago, Orion was just above the treetops. And now there aren't any trees near it. It's overhead. It's a long way out of where it was 4 nights ago. And like I said earlier, Patrick Garrett, please do see you. But yeah, I'm asking everybody, go out and check for yourself, because Pleiades it's where it's supposed to be. It's overhead, but it wasn't there 4 nights ago. It was that away. I could see it through my window right here, which is like, that's not supposed to be going on, and from my window to overhead is about 40 degrees from the lower portion there to overhead, because I use I've measured it with my little protractor device. But to the point though, there's some high energy stuff going on right now. Now, I think I checked the Schumann resonance earlier, and we've been getting kind of hammered with the Schumann resonance. I'm checking it right now while I'm yakking, just to see. Oh yeah, oh goodness, it's off the chart some more. Not as heavy as it was a day ago, but it's pinging off the chart right now as we speak. So hello, come on. So there you go with that. So we are, we call cotton candy floss. Oh yeah. Hi, you're right. You're in UK. Yeah. Well, in the old days, I started in the carny business in the 1960s, and we traveled all around here in southern Georgia, all over Florida. Actually, we would go as far, just a little bit north of Macon, but southern Alabama, southern Georgia, from Macon, south to the border, and all over Florida. And so the name of the carnival, which doesn't exist anymore, was called Southland Amusements. And one of the first jobs I had on the carnival was doing cotton candy, or floss, candy floss. And even on the machines, it says floss, so it's like we brought the word floss over maybe from the UK, but to the point that I don't know where they came up with the machine. So I'm just kind of winging it. But the thing is that a lot of the bags and stuff that you buy to put the cotton candy in, it all says candy floss. Anyway, it's just an interesting thing that, back in the day, we called it floss back in the 60s, early 70s. And then it became cotton candy. And so depending on where you were in the South, depending on whether you were near a big city where there were, more than just, the Florida crackers or the Georgia rednecks or the Alabama guy folks over there. Alabama folks are different, just got to say. But the changes in the earth right now I mean, I'm sitting here and I came in. I had to do this video. I want to go back out and look, but there's all kinds of weird streaks in the atmosphere tonight, and the feeling I was getting is that they're sprites, not necessarily fairies or something. They're sprites. But whatever I saw out there in my field was real. I haven't been able to duplicate what I saw. And I'm like, man, I ain't even smoked anything tonight, you know? I've had a couple of cigarettes and eaten my spaghetti, but you know, it's like, wait a minute now. That should become I should be eating mushrooms to see something like that, you know? I mean, hey, but you know, I'm not. I'm sober and everything's groovy, paying attention, you know, want to have a clear head so I can observe correctly, you know, and then I'll smoke a bowl. but but to the point though, we're in a big wobble. We are in a whoa, there's some heavy duty something going on. There's been a lot of spiritual activity around my house and through these woods these last few days. Now, for if I haven't spoken about it, there is a Church of God up the road from me that's named Zion Grove, and I live on Zion Grove Church Road. So dum da da dum, there you go. And this way across the river from me is New Bethel Church, and there is a large cemetery there that's been there for quite a while. Now, that cemetery, the New Bethel Church, is a large Baptist church. There's a campground there, nice folk, you know, small congregation, but that church has been there for quite a long time, and so has the cemetery. Now, the one up the road, it was a breakaway, blah, 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 and the folks buried there are, you know, not, it wasn't established, it was established long after New Bethel was. Okay. So anyway, but my point about this is that in my many ceremonies and fires and so forth in the woods back there, you talk about some strange, weird ass spirit beings going through my woods. And they have been, those spirits or some of the spirits have been seen by people over my 35 years of living here. And they will all see the same entity, describe the same being, and these people have never met each other because it's over a period of time. I've got a group of friends, we go do ceremony, come out, they tell me things, what'd you see, what'd you feel? Okay, Dave puts it in his little book. And then 2 years later, somebody comes and goes, I saw this lady and the little girl and the da 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 da, described it like all the other people have over the years. And it's like, well, so do these spirits exist in my backwoods? Oh, yeah. Because so many different people have described the exact same thing. And it's like, literally go out my back door. Sometimes they literally come through the wall. Now, when it's getting wintertime, so I'm downstairs right now, and I'll be moving upstairs because I got a wood heater over here that I'm cleaning up and getting ready to fire up. The hurricane tore my stovepipe down on the outside, and I'm still cleaning up limbs and things. There's a lot more limbs fell than I originally noticed. It's a lot of smaller stuff, but it's still debris that's got to get picked up. I mean, we got shredded. But anyway, so but I'll be moving upstairs because my upstairs, my office is right at the top of the stairs where my other computer is and all my other peripheral things, all my good microphones and all my other good stuff. But it's been too warm for me to be up there because I don't have air conditioning, and it's just been too warm upstairs this summer. So I'll be moving back upstairs shortly so I can stay warmer. But with that though, what I meant by that was, so upstairs in the wintertime, I've got so I can see the stairs. If I got to come down and go to the toilet, I have one upstairs, but I have the water unplugged at the moment. I just worked on the well again today. And so I got good fresh water again. But so I've got a battery operated motion detector night light that literally just hangs on the wall at the top of the stairs. So if I walk out of my office and take one step, that light comes on and shines down my stairs. And then I have one that hangs just right there. And so as I come down the stairs, it comes on and it lights up the stairs and then it goes off. And then on my way back through, it'll light back up and it's positioned just right that as I come up the stairs, it will come on and it will also come on as I get ready to come down the stairs. Okay, dual purpose. Now, the reason I'm explaining this is that it is a motion detector. There, no one lives in the house with me, so I'm sitting in the office and can see the light, but whatever I do, I have to step out of the office in order for it to trigger. All of a sudden, the light comes on. Something just came up my stairs or went down it. And I've caught so much that light will come on, then I'll look, and son of a gun, there'll be something. Now I've literally have described different characters. Now, why they're walking upstairs, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're interested, but there was never a house here where I put my house. Now, there was an old shack a little further down on the edge of the field, near closer to where the old roadbed is on my property, but not here. This was planted. There was nothing here. This was part of a tilled field, farmland. And because I've dug the footer and everything, and there's nothing here that resembles any kind of a structure. Okay. With that said, why are these things going up and down my stairs? And so I could be sitting here and just all of a sudden, and I've tried throwing pieces of paper. I've tried doing all kinds of things to set off the motion detector, but there's nothing that can be seen with the eye. But something is touching off the motion detectors. There's not a cat. There's nothing in the house but me. So what in the hell are these motion detectors going off for, especially like around my stairs? Well, but that's where I had them set up. So that's mainly the reason. Now, when I've got my upstairs cleared out and everything, my bedroom is actually over the kitchen, which is up back to this direction from me, but still upstairs, right? And the other bathroom is over there. So when I'm in the bedroom and I got everything all cleaned up and it's like this time of year, it's perfect upstairs now. So I'm moving up there. But I've got another motion detector at that bathroom. So as I get up out of bed and take 2 steps towards the door, it comes on automatically and lights my way to the upstairs bathroom. So I've been in bed several times, and like, okay, I've rolled over, I've sat on the bed and waved my arms, I've moved the pillow, can't set it off. I have to take 2 steps towards it in order to click it on. Laying in bed, okay, getting ready, turn the lights out, 5 minutes later before you drop off to sleep, boom, the light comes on. But then I'll sit up in bed because the next other thing is, will the one at the top of the stairs come on? Sure enough, a couple of seconds later, the one at the top of the stairs. Now, that's at opposite ends of the house, which is about 40 feet. So, but I can, from upstairs, it's a clear shot to the top. I can see the top of the stairs from the end of my bed up there. So I'm looking over there and boom, now the other light comes on. Now, this happens so frequently that it's like, well, wonder who it is this time, So things have been going on around here for a long time, just saying. But tonight is the first time I saw a sprite, if you will. And I mean, it looked like a large fairy, just like inside of like a movie set. And I'm going to go back out when I get done doing this little thing here because I want to do a little bit more observation. Going to put a long sleeve shirt on so I can get rid of the, hey, Quartz Quantum, hello, good morning to you, blessings to you. But I want to go back outside here and check and see, because just before I came in here to do this, um, I came in to get a long sleeve shirt too and some more coffee. But the sprites and the flashes going, and they're not meteors. Okay, I know the difference, you know, and that's one reason why I won't take a hit off my bowl, because I want my eyeballs to be clear. I want to make sure I'm not imagining any of this, because when I was out earlier, there are a lot of flashes of light, and I know that if I look out this direction at certain times of the night, there are airplanes flying. But I can see they're on and off, on and off. I know what airplanes look like in the sky, and these aren't airplanes, and they're not meteors, because they're flashes of light. Like in the old days when I remember the days when you put a flash bulb into the front of your camera and it went snap, putch, and then you had to take the bulb out and put another one. Okay, I grew up in them days, and so before they come up with these other types of quartz lights and flashes. But anyway, to my point though, it's like that, but off in the distance, it's a bright flash, and there's like a little bit of dissipation, but that's it. But then there'll be another one. I don't know, two hands away, so maybe 20 degrees apart, and then another flash. And it's not an airplane. It's not because I can what there. It should have flashed 4 or 5 times before it ever got over there. It's not that. And the sky is pitch black in this particular area. Now it's south. Pleiades is like almost directly overhead, so it's south of Pleiades. I'm not sure what area it is, but it's more to the southwest. So, and if any of you are watching this and pick this up, go outside and check that quadrant of the sky and see what you can see. See if there's anything else going on, because it's really peculiar tonight. I'm just saying. And seeing that sprite out there in the yard, and now that was the. I was standing there going, "What the fuck is this?" Okay, quite honestly, I'm like, "What?" Because I have seen a lot of entities in my spirit walks and vision quest, and man, but this is a new one. Now I know what it looks like because of what people and pictures and things and histories of stuff, and the impression I got when I asked, "What is that?" It was Sprite. So about yay tall, 16, 20 inches tall, with wings. And it was like phasing in, it phased in, then out, then phased in and out, phased in and out, and disappeared. It got really dim as it went towards the fence line, because it was going away from me. So obviously it was getting dimmer, if you will. But it was like a lightning bug. Now, if it was a lightning bug, it's the biggest freaking lightning bug I've ever seen, because it was 20 inches tall. Okay, that's my point. You know, so whatever's going on around here tonight, the energies are really big time going on. All right. So just saying. So I hope the energy. Now, it didn't feel, malevolent in any way. Didn't seem like it was some kind of evil entity. Nope. If anything, it was just passing through and headed that away across the property to my neighbors. He's got a big pond over there. Maybe they wanted, to be near water. I don't know, but the flashing, the bright flashing lights though, out of the sky. And there's been some other folks who have been reporting very similar events. And now, just going to toss this out there, but the Galactics have said that there's quite a war going on up there, and there are quite a few entities that are trying to get off planet. They're trying to bring in some reinforcements, and I've already seen. In the last 3 years, I've seen, well, literally, I've seen 3 different spaceships get blowed up. And one of them was spectacular. Oh my God. And I don't mean to be rude about this, but the one several years ago, it looked like the space shuttle that came in and blew up into fragments. It was that huge. And oh my God, it covered the entire sky with debris. And nobody reported it. I did. My report never showed up on the thing that I even reported it. And somewhere I mean, I described the different colors across the sky. I mean, I went into detail about this thing. No, it wasn't reported. And it came from the south towards the north, like it was coming out of from over Florida towards headed towards Macon, Georgia, if you will. And man, that thing just literally blew apart. And the thing was, is that before I saw it, I got a message from the angels, or this was probably the galactics that said, because I was asking for proof back then. I'm always asking, hey guys, if you got something you can show me, tell me to go outside. Well, this was one of those kind of instances. They were like, look over there, Dave. And I was driving my truck home from a friend of mine's house, since it was about 12 o'clock at night. And they were like, just keep an eye out the window. And I was like, but I got to drive. And they said, slow down. You're going to like this. And about that time is when it started breaking apart and blew itself apart across. I mean, from one side of the sky to the other, from one horizon to the other. And I was on a clear spot on a hill, and I could see both horizons clearly. And so, I've been witness to quite a few things, and I don't have a picture, damn it, but I promise you, I don't, I could make things up if I wanted to, but what's the point? I would much rather tell you the absolute truth of what I saw and when and what happened around that, rather than to even embellish on a story, because I realize my purpose here, and that's to help communicate with people. But so anyway, um, the Galactics, have said, hey, yo, what, yeah, we're blasting the shit out of some of these people because we gave them a choice to repent, give up, just lay down your arms. If you'll just quit fighting, we can declare a truce or peace with this. And they go, yo, okay, we give up. And then the next thing you know, they gotta get blowed out the sky because, well, they're untrustworthy. And a lot of them are lizard folk, and they think that they're going to get away with it, and we're all on to them. I'm sorry, but you guys just we're not tolerating this mess anymore. So tonight, and I'm going to end this here in a few minutes so I can go back out and do some more observation. And if I come up with anything good, I'll be back on early in the morning and I'll do an update. But the sprites and these other entities that I have been seeing here at the house, which I got to say, in the last 3 months, there's been more activity these last 3 months than I have been able to witness. Not that there hasn't been activity, but that I have been able to witness. I mean, seeing the orbs across the screen on live TV, it's like, whoa, that's weird. Seeing the little angel thingy in the background, the little fairies thingy. Now tonight, I didn't have the video on, but whatever I saw in the yard was for real. It's as real as the orbs across the sky across the screen here. And so it's like, oh wow. So, but I've been on this property for 35 years, and I've been over damn near every single inch of this property. And I've sat in weird places in the middle of the night, and I've seen things appear out of vortices. I mean, it's almost like a Stargate, but without a frame. But this portal opens, and these beings step in and out of it, and it's there for a little while, and then it's gone. And it's been witnessed by other people who were with me. and I'd see it and like not say a word, and they go, "Holy shit, Dave! Do you see that? Is that like a hole in what is that over there?" You know, and I go, "Oh, you mean you see that? Yeah, okay, good." Makes Dave feel better. So I don't know what this is here. I've checked and I'm close to some ley lines, but not. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean there aren't energetic fields here. When we had a thunderstorm, I guess just before the hurricane, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, there were lightning strikes just right out here in the yard, about where the Sprite was, as a matter of fact, which tonight, oddly enough. And I mean, there's a little spot in the ground, and I should dig around it because they say that when lightning hits the ground, it makes these. I can't remember the word. Shungite, something like that. Anyway, it makes little crystals in the sand where the anyway. So it's like I need to go out and check. Up on the hill, when the hurricane came through, there were several trees across my driveway, and one of them was struck by lightning because you could just tell where the split is down the tree. So somewhere in the ground, there's probably some of those things. But anyway, this is hard ass clay around here, so it's not like you can just dig in the sand. But so there's a high amount of energy around here. I know I was led to this property when I bought this property. How I bought the property and the whole story about that is just strange in itself. But so the spirits led me to this place for a reason. And as I've explained in other videos, that I was here on this property in a previous life, and I did some pretty crappy things. I mean, like murder, kind of crappy. And I'm here on this time around to clear some of this up. So also with that, though, has been because some of the people I mistreated were Native Americans, and I had a squaw for a wife. Now, a squaw is like calling somebody a slut whore bitch, or a bitch slut whore, or something. It's a very derogative name. And so you never hear of Native Americans talk about any woman as a squaw, because that is like the worst name you could ever call anybody almost in their tradition. So, but with that though, so this energy here, in fact, the Christians desecrated the area, but my neighbor, and where he found this pile of spear points, and he found 250 spear points and arrowheads in perfect shape. And I mean, because there was a chieftain who was buried at the top of my property near the road, and they cut the road through and desecrated where he was buried. Now they did that a lot. If there was a battle or something, they would never bury the Indians in a white cemetery. They would always do something weird to desecrate the Native Americans. And so there is evidence they put a road through where this chief was buried, and a lot of evidence of that. I mean, it's just right up here at the top of the driveway on my property. And I've been up there and looked. We've set up there for 2.5 days and drummed and sang and drummed and sang and ceremonied and sang and drummed and sang till the neighbors were called. The sheriff's department couldn't do anything to us because it was on my property and we weren't making. It was just annoying to them. They had to watch us from their front yard. Tough shit. It is what it is. They shot a wolf that had got away from us, ran up the hill, and was gone in 60 seconds. And the neighbor up the hill, just because the dog was running through his yard, he had warned us, if that wolf come, and it was a full-fledged wolf, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful animal. And me and that wolf had literally walked with the spirits one night. It was almost dead, and I sat with it and talked with the spirits and brought it back to life. It was just an amazing, amazing, amazing thing. And then like 2 weeks later, the next door neighbor shoots it with this 30-06 and kills this wolf dead. Well, we did ceremony at the top of the hill for the wolf, and we had a fire for the wolf. We uh, burned its bones and prayed, and it was just, it was sad, but it was great, but it wasn't. And anyway, but during that time, there were visions by my medicine man friend and myself and one other person. Actually, it was his brother, and we had all had visions of this chief being buried near where we set the fire. And so then I did a little bit more homework, and I asked my neighbor again, la da da. He goes, well, that's where I found all those spear points, was right over there, like 10 feet from my property line, his property line and mine. And so I'm still, one of these days, I've asked if I could go dig around up there, and the spirit has asked me, please let me rest. Don't dig around up here. But I don't want to dig. I just kind of want to scuff around in the earth, see if there's any more spear points or anything up there. Because I mean, some of these spear points were literally this big. They were, a foot long or longer. One was like, it looked like it come out of the movie, and it was the flint was perfect. I mean, he had them in a big case and everything, with them all laid out, you know. And he desecrated that chief's grave by digging all those up and then selling them. And he's had a bunch of nasty shit happen to him and his family. By the way, uh, I tried to warn him, don't sell them. It's one thing for you to dig them up. It's another thing for you to sell them. He sold them. Well, I need the money. He didn't need the money. He just wanted to sell them. Well, a good price. And he got some good prices for them, but he sold that. And he's sitting on the other part of the property. Our property line separates where the chief was actually buried and where they never. Here's the thing that, like with Native Americans, for example, they would never, they make offerings and so forth, but they would never put the offering with the burial or with at the actual ceremony of the burial itself. So they would put all their offerings just off to where the chief had been. And from the amount of arrow points and blades and so forth that was in this pile, he was a very, very high standing chief. And then they desecrated his grave and put a road through. Just saying, that's what Christians did back in the day. Some of them still do, Christians, that is. So I'm going to cut this quote short. It's been almost an hour now, but I want to go back outside and do another check. See if there's any more of those little animal sprites out there. So Patrick and Quartz, hi. I'm going to go back outside and do some more observations, but I ask you, please go outside, take a peek, because this shit ain't in the right spot. I'm just saying. It ain't in the right spot of where it was 4 days ago. It was actually 3, but now this is Thursday. So, and happy All Saints Day to all those of you in the Catholic or Episcopalian or Presbyterian. Not sure about the Methodist, but this is All Saints Day. Yep, Halloween's over, and this is Dias de Muertes, I think it is, which is the Day of the Dead. And over the years, I've had a lot of Mexican friends, and I speak very kindly most of the time with some of these folks. And I've learned a lot about their traditions and so forth. And they make an altar for their loved ones. And now, I guess in Mexico, some of these, they literally bring out the bones of their relatives. Okay. And some, depending on where in Mexico and all the way south, even into Argentina and into South America, some of these customs are there. And that, they bury their relatives in the floor. And that when it comes time for the Day of the Dead, they bring the bones of their relatives out, put them in the put a hat on them, put a shawl around them, an Indian blanket, and they bring them food and offerings. And that after that, they put them back in and everything until the next year, or whatever the custom may be of the ceremony. Now, the Mexican folks that I knew, what they did was they set up a table outside, or some could be inside, but to the folks that I knew, they set up a table outside, and so they had an outdoor barbecue, even though it was raining that particular November 1st. But they set up outside, and for each relative, she set up a little altar. Like, here's a cross for this one. Here's a picture of Mother Mary, and there was a memento, like a little snapshot, or maybe it was a locket or something, whatever it was of the person they were honoring. And they would set a little. They would have these little plates of food, and they would bring out, and well, grandma liked this, and there'd be a little bit of potato salad, and then on the next one in front of something else, 7 a.m. Gotta go. See you, Patrick. Have a wonderful day. Be safe, my friend. And so, to the Day of the Dead, depending, it's like it's an honor for it's sort of like Thanksgiving for the dead today. So that's how it is. So today, for all those relatives and all of our elders and all of the ancients and all of our ancestors, peace be upon you after this Halloween night. And now, as we go into All Saints Day, and in the Catholic religion, it was, we all went to church, and it was All Saints Day, and it was like, well, why do we have All Saints Day after Halloween? I still haven't really quite figured that one out, but it is to honor the dead and the saints and etc. Now, the Catholics don't go so far as to honor your dead relatives like the Mexican traditions are, but to the point, though, it's like, hey, y'all, and rather than just being, my granny was a saint, my pops was a saint, at least in my eyes. So if I'm going to, have a day for the All Saints, I'm going to include those angels who helped me in my lifetime. It's not going to be to Saint Mark or Luke or Matthew or anybody in the Bible. I'm going to pray to the relatives who were saintly in my eyes, and not just my relatives, but friends that I knew. So let this be a day of remembrance for all those who went before us and who paved the way into the next realm and who are going to be helping us now. So let's keep our hearts and our eyes and our ears open. I'm going to go back outside, see what other kind of phenomena that's heading out. So y'all be safe, Patrick and Quartz. Blessings to you. As I always say, may you accept and receive all the blessings and the healing from the universe for you, your family, all your relatives, and all of your kin. I say blessings, peace to you. Peace be upon you, Quartz and Patrick, and anybody else who might make it this far into the video. So blessings all. Till next time, be safe and pay attention. The earth really is wobbling. I mean, scared the shit out of me tonight. So bye-bye for now. Until next time, TTFN. Ta-ta for now.